TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Number one, I've never slept with Bret Hart. Ever. Never. Never happened. Bret and I were friends. Bret used my locker room at shows. See, Bret didn't like people. He doesn't like using a locker room with the guys. He doesn't like it. So he would always say, do you mind if I share your locker room? Not a problem. So when he was changing, I would leave. When I would go in and change, he would leave. If neither was changing, we were usually just hanging out, just bullshitting. Because he didn't like being around the boys. And we got along, so he didn't mind being around me. Chris knew nothing was going on. Chris was in there most of the time talking with us. And I mean, it's not like the doors were locked when we were in there. Right. Chris is in and out the whole time, talking to Bret, talking to me. You know, we're going over matches. Nothing happened. But we spent so much time together in locker rooms, I guess people assumed that something was happening. Right. Didn't happen.
Do you think Bret takes the business too serious?
Bret is complicated. I love Bret. He's always treated me really, really good. There's sometimes he comes out with comments that I don't quite agree with. But, you know, he's been through shit. He's been through hell and back. Look what happened to Owen. And, you know, the company's trying to, it wasn't our fault. Right. You know, I don't know. Bret, you know, to each his own. If Bret wants to be bitter about something, that's his prerogative. That's what he can do. Like I said, he's complicated. He's a little quirky at times, but relatively, he is a good person. He really is.
Are you shocked that Bret Hart went back to WWE recently and they did the DVD and now he's going to be in the Hall of Fame?
You know, this is the first I'm hearing of it. I mean, I know he did the DVD. Right. I didn't even hear about the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame now, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I told you I don't follow this stuff anymore. It sucks too much to watch. No, I'm not surprised. I knew it would happen. I mean, look at the impact Bret made in that company for all those years. How can they not?
Exactly.
How can they not? You can't erase that from history. Right. You know, so I'm not surprised. I mean, you can't get through a tour without good ribs. Right. You have to.
Any stick out?
Huh?
Any stick out?
Something Owen used to do to Davey. No, I'm sorry. Davey used to do to Owen. Owen was one of the cheapest people in the world on the road. Cheap. And we were in Germany and, you know, we'd go down to the Continental Breakfast and there'd be the orange juice cartons. And Owen's like, well, I'm going to take the orange juice for the whole day. Right. And he would put 2 cartons of orange juice in his bag, in his carry-on bag. And we get to the airport and Davey's like saying to the people like, oh, ma'am, you can't let him bring that bag on the plane. It's too big, you know? And Owen's like, my orange juice is in there. Shut up. And I bring it on every day. And Davey's like, no, man, you have to make him check that. That's too big. That's not going to fit. And they would believe Davey and make Owen check his bags. That's awesome. So, of course, they come down to the baggage belt leaking orange juice because they just got crushed. And all his gear is like totally saturated in orange juice. And by then it was sour and smelly. I mean, just you have to do this stuff on the road. You have to torment each other or you go stir crazy. Right. You have to. You know, like I said, I'm a big supporter of ribs. I mean, any ribs that people have played on me, I never got upset. I would laugh with them. I'm like, thank God somebody wanted to rib me. You know what I mean? And I pull ribs too. I mean, you gotta padlock people's bags to, you know, water pipes. And you have to. Right. You know, you have to do it. You got to get your aggressions out.
How long was it before I guess you started dating?
You know, it was months. It was a few months, but I didn't start dating saying to myself, I need to replace him. I really didn't, because I can never replace him. But I'm sorry, but I got lonely. I was bored, you know, so I met people at, you know, the gym, or I met people through friends, and, you know, I wanted to go out and try to have a good time, you know, so it was a few months, and people were saying to me, don't you think it's too soon? I'm like, I'm not getting married. I'm not doing, you know, I'm just going out and having a good time. I guess I started in like August or September, I think. And I was just like, I'm just going out and having fun and meeting people. Most of the time I met idiots and assholes. Like my one friend from the gym, she's a fitness manager there. She, you know, she's taking me down to Jenks every weekend in Point Pleasant. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I'm just meeting all these drunk idiots. This isn't a good thing. I don't even like bars. I mean, never mind clubs. I'm not a club goer. Right. And I'm sitting there like, I'm just meeting these assholes and I'm getting phone numbers. I'm like, I don't want to call you. You're a fucking moron, you know? But no, and then I kind of had, a friend of mine that was a trainer in my gym that we kind of hung out a few times. He turned out to be a real asshole. And then out of the blue, I met somebody who I'm crazy about right now. Should I talk about him?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, okay. It's unreal.
Was it weird dating since you were with Chris, since I guess you were in high school?
Yeah. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know. My friends were like, oh, you got to get on the dating scene. I'm like, I don't know what the dating scene is. I've never had to do it. Huh. You know, seriously, we met last month, the senior year in high school, and that's all I've known. So I went from being with my parents to being with him to being thrust into the world, not knowing anything. I had no idea what the dating scene was like. And I still don't, luckily. Thank God. I don't want to know. Right. But yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. Thought I'd never have to do it.
TitleMatchNetwork.com